All right, so good morning, everyone. My name is Jesse, and I am with Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants. For those joining us for the first time, we are all about bringing conservation, adventure, and science into classrooms around the world. And we're really excited today for our speaker. I'm going to get to her in just a minute. But first, we've got 4 classes joining us from across North America. I want to give them a chance to do a bit of a shout out. We've got Miss Reeves, grade 4s in Leamington, Ontario. Hey, guys. Hey, setting the bar very high for enthusiasm. We've got Miss Erickson's and for Miss Gordon's group, grade 4s in Stafford Springs in Connecticut. Hi, guys. Hey. We've got Miss Martin's grade 8s in Princeton in New Jersey. Hi, guys. Oh, it wants to unmute you. Tech problems, but you're enthusiastic, and that's what matters. All right, and then Miss Bendo's grade 3s in Guelph, Ontario. Hey, guys. Hey, and we got the mic good for Miss Martin's class. If you guys want to say hi again, go for it.
Yeah, hi.
Hey, awesome. Oh, and our 5th class just joined too. Everybody's here. All right, so yeah, Miss Flynn's group, grade 3, St. Albert in Alberta. Welcome in. We just got in, so we're just going to meet you guys because we're diving in with our speaker. So, of course, the reason you guys are all here today is for our speaker. We're joined live by Danielle and the Aquarist team at Ripley's Aquarium of Canada in Toronto. It's the largest aquarium in North America, or indoor aquarium in Canada. 16,000 animals, over 400 species, and today they're taking us on a very special tour behind the scenes to show us a little bit about how they train their zebra sharks. So let's learn a little bit more about that, why they want to train their zebra sharks, how they do it, and check out some really, really cool stuff. Without further ado, thanks so much for joining us, Danielle. Take it away.
Amazing. Good morning, everyone. My name is Danielle. I'm an educator here at Ripley's Aquarium of Canada, and joining us today, we have 2 of our aquarists, Dave and Haley, and they are in charge of taking care of our beautiful reef sharks. As you can see, their habitat here below. So they are going to be getting into the water and focusing on feeding our zebra sharks. And I think today on the menu, they are getting some capelin. So there you can see that there. And yeah, so they're going to be getting into the water. They're going to kneel down in the shallow area. And you're going to see the sharks are probably going to get pretty excited because they know that when our aquarists enter the water, that means food. So in our reef shark habitat, we do have 7 different species of reef shark. Today, we're going to be focusing on the zebra sharks, which they'll come closer in a minute, but they're the larger kind of yellowy cream color with the polka dots. But we also have some black tip reef sharks. You can normally see them swimming up at the top. They have a black dorsal fin. We have some white tip reef sharks. We have some white spotted bamboo sharks, which are small. They usually hang out on the bottom. We have an epaulet shark, and then we have 2 species of wobbegong, the tasseled wobbegong and the ornate wobbegong. I can see them all just hanging out on the bottom there, but if they come closer, I'll make sure to point them out. So you can see we have our zebra sharks. They're getting ready. They're coming closer. So Dave and Haley hand feed our zebra sharks. They just take a bunch of capelin and hand them out, hold them in their hand, and the zebra sharks will swim by. And their mouth is kind of like a vacuum. They'll just suck up that food. They have pretty small teeth, small jaws, and they'll just grind and crush their food. Now, when it comes to training our zebra sharks, you'll see in a minute, Dave's going to do some different things. So we like to use positive reinforcement with our zebra sharks. So that's when you use a consequence to strengthen a desired behavior. So if you can picture you're at home doing some chores and maybe your parents will give you an allowance or a treat, and that'll reinforce that behavior. So you'll keep wanting to do chores to get that treat. So our zebra sharks, you can see in a minute, Dave's going to kind of lift them out of the water. We use food as that positive reinforcement in order to get our zebra sharks close and comfortable so that we can start to lift them out of the water, flip them over even, and that will allow us to get a closer look and do health checkups, like taking blood tests, making sure there's no cuts or scratches or anything on our zebra sharks and that they remain nice and healthy. So that's what we like to do when we feed them, just to keep them comfortable. And over time, the sharks do get closer and do get more comfortable, and they've learned this if they cooperate, they'll get food. So I'll see Dave's gonna lift her gently out of the water a little bit, and he'll just slowly build up. We don't want to be too intrusive. This is a good way to do that. Now a little bit about the zebra shark. Let's see if we can, oh, there we go. So then sometimes he gives them little belly rubs too. A little belly kiss for our zebra shark. So that was a great example of her, one of our zebra sharks cooperating. And one neat thing about sharks, they do this in the wild on their own as well. But when you flip them over, they actually go into what's called tonic immobility. It's kind of like a trance. So they have less motor and sensory reactions, and their muscles relax. And in the wild, they do this on their own. Scientists are not totally sure why, but we think it might be for mating purposes or even predation, kind of like playing dead, so larger sharks won't eat them. But again, we do it here. It just gives us an opportunity to get a closer look and do any of those health checkups that we need to. So you might be wondering why this shark is called a zebra shark. As you can see, has spots more like a leopard, but these sharks get their name zebra sharks because as juveniles or babies, they have stripes on their body. So they have a darker body with lighter stripes, kind of like a zebra. And then as they grow, their pattern changes to this lighter body, darker spots. But we call them zebra sharks because there's already another species of shark called the leopard shark. So we don't want to get them confused. These sharks are a smaller shark, growing about 2 to 4 meters. And as you can see, they have a beautiful, very long tail, and most of the length of their body comes from that tail. And they can weigh between 45 to 65 pounds. So again, it is a smaller shark, and they live about 25 to 35 years in the wild. Now, these sharks, being so small, they typically live in shallower water on reef, coral reef habitat. You can find them in the Pacific Ocean, between Japan and Australia, and the Indian Ocean as well. And they are nocturnal, so they typically like to rest on the bottom, kind of blending in or camouflaging on the reef and hiding in little crevices. And then they're more active at night, where when they'll do their hunting. And today we're feeding them peatlands, so they would eat smaller fish in the wild too, but they also really like crustaceans and mollusks that you would find in the sand. So little crabs and shrimps and even squids and snails. They have little barbels or kind of like whiskers on the bottom side of their mouth that they can use to help find their prey that might be hiding in the sand. What else about these beautiful sharks? So they do not have many predators, being a shark, but of course they are on the smaller side, so any larger sharks might be a predator for our zebra shark, so something like a bull shark or a tiger shark. But humans are probably their #1 predator, like most sharks. Woo! Just got a little splash. So unfortunately, our zebra sharks are endangered on the IUCN Red List, and their numbers are decreasing. Now, there are many reasons why this might be occurring, but mostly due to our human actions. So sharks are targeted in the fin trade industry. They're fished for their fins, and they're fished for their liver and meat. And we use that for different health products or beauty products. So it's not a good thing. It's putting a lot of our sharks in danger of becoming extinct. But luckily, there are some things that we can do as consumers to make sure that our sharks are safe and they stick around. Because sharks play a very important role in our oceans at keeping them healthy. They make sure the food chain is in balance, and they kind of take out any sick or injured individuals in populations, keeping the food chain healthy. So some things that we can be doing, even though we don't live near Australia where we would find these beautiful creatures, we can keep educating ourselves and sharing information to make sure that everyone's doing their part. If you like to eat seafood, that's not a problem. there is a great website or app I would recommend you check out called Ocean Line, and that'll let you know that your seafood is caught in a sustainable way and it's not hurting or endangering animals like our sharks. What else? We can also do some easier things right at home, like reducing our waste, recycling our products, because another threat to these sharks is habitat loss or pollution as well. So I encourage you guys to do your part. We can all do our stuff to save the sharks. As you can see, Dave just lifts one of our zebra sharks right out of the water with very little struggle. So our zebra sharks are very well behaved and they are very comfortable with Dave. And they are definitely treated with a nice little treat for cooperating. So that is all I have to say about our zebra sharks. I would love to hear your thoughts and questions. If you want to open it up for a discussion.
Yeah, thank you so much, Danielle. That's fantastic. So before we dive in with live questions, I want to know we've got a few groups watching on YouTube Live as well. So if you guys want to type in your questions in the chat bar, I'll happily pass them on straight to Danielle. So please do that. But yeah, let's start. We'll dive in with Miss Reeves' class. If you guys have a question about sharks, come on up. Hey, oh, you're muted for, oh, there you go. You're good.
Hi, I'm Haley K, and I was wondering, what's the most biggest shark do you guys have?
Yeah, what's the biggest shark you have, Danielle?
So the biggest shark we have at the aquarium lives in our dangerous lagoon habitat, and that would probably be our sand tiger shark. So they look like if you think about a shark, that's kind of what a sand tiger shark looks like. They're gray, they have the big pointy teeth, they're very slow moving. We have about 10 of them living in dangerous lagoon.
Very cool. All right, and how much do they weigh? Can you tell us roughly?
Ooh, they can weigh a few hundred pounds. I want to say roughly like 300, 400.
Yeah, very cool. All right, Miss Erickson's class, if you guys have a question, come on up.
Introduce yourself.
I'm Andrew.
Hi, Andrew.
Good. How many?
How long can they get up to?
Yeah. The biggest sharks or the zebra sharks or what kind of shark?
Like the biggest and the leopard ones that they were talking about.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, so our zebra sharks grow to about 2 to 4 meters. So they're on the smaller side when it comes to sharks. And our sand tigers, I want to say roughly about 3 to 5, maybe 3 to 4. So they're a little bit bigger than these sharks.
For the U.S. classrooms, a meter, in case you don't know, you should know, but it's about 3.3 feet. So 2 meters is about 7 feet, something like that. Very cool. All right, let's go to Miss Martin's class. Come on up, guys.
Hey there.
Hey.
Nope, sure. Olivia.
Otherwise, they're going to skip us.
How many are left in the wild? Sure. How many are left in the wild?
What was the question?
How many are left in the wild?
Oh, how many are left in the wild, Danielle? Can you tell us zebra sharks in the wild?
Ooh, good question. I don't have a number off the top of my head. It depends on the population of zebra sharks. I do know that the population living in Australia is actually really healthy. They have a really good protective measures there to protect their zebra sharks. But as far as I know, all the other populations of zebra sharks are on the decline. I don't have a specific number though.
No, it's very hard to get specific numbers for animals generally, but what you can do is look at their status on the red list. So they can be endangered or vulnerable or threatened or nothing at all. And that gives you a sense of how big the population is. But it's good to hear that they're good in Australia. That's great. All right, Miss Bendo's class, if you guys have a question, come on up.
Who are more dangerous, the tiger sharks or the zebra sharks?
Yeah. So are any of them dangerous, Danielle?
No, sharks are not dangerous. If you've seen the movie Jaws or Sharknado, they like to paint sharks as monsters and killing machines, but that is not the case for our sharks. So zebra sharks, as you can see, our aquarists are very comfortable in the water with them. The zebra sharks do not want to hurt our aquarists. And same with the sand tiger sharks. So our divers dive with those sharks every day, and they're really not interested in our divers. They'd actually rather be left alone. So there's a little bit of a misconception with sharks. You definitely don't want to stick your hand in a shark of a mouth or the mouth of a shark. But no, they're not dangerous.
Yeah, that's really good. I'm really glad we got to that. We always get to that in shark sessions. You know, in the wild, like any animal, you should respect a shark if you come across it, but sharks are not going out of their way to hurt people. Most shark attacks are people going up and harassing the shark, which just like if someone harassed you, you might fight back too. But sharks aren't dangerous, and especially in an aquarium environment where they're well fed and they're totally fine, there's nothing to worry about. So, but I'm really glad we got that. Actually, Danielle, I wanted to pass along a question that I didn't think we're going to get to otherwise. Can you tell us a little bit about sharks' extra senses? So we have the 5 senses, and I hear that sharks have a couple more.
Yes, definitely. So like Jesse said, we all have 5 senses. Sharks actually have 6 or even more. So they have a 6th sense called electroreception. And if you take a look on near the shark's face region, you'll notice little freckles or little pores. These are called Ampullae of Lorenzini. It's a very fancy word, but basically these pores can detect electrical impulses in the water. So any living thing gives off electricity. So when your hearts beat, when your muscles twitch, the sharks can actually sense that. So it's very handy for sharks and animals that like to eat prey that hides in the sand. So their prey might be hidden, but they'd actually be able to detect a heartbeat or movement, and they would know that their food is in the area without seeing it. So they can rely on the 6th sense to hunt for their food.
Very cool. All right, let's dive back into the second round. So Miss Reeves' class, if you guys have one, come on up.
Hi, I'm Angelina. And do you have like any new sharks that like, do you have any like newborn sharks?
Good question. Any babies, Danielle?
Yes, good
new sharks?
question. So Haley here was actually diving in this tank this morning, and she collected a bunch of shark eggs. So I haven't seen any, but our little white spotted bamboo sharks, they lay eggs very frequently. So we do have a bunch of baby bamboo sharks. We also have little chain cat sharks, as well as a little swell shark as well. So we have a special little place where we can put these eggs to incubate them, and then once they've hatched and grown a bit, we can put them on exhibit.
Super cool. And then so some sharks, you just mentioned, lay eggs. Do others have live birth? Sharks are kind of neat that way.
Yes, so there's a few different ways that sharks have babies. So I think about 30% of the species are egg-laying sharks. So the mother would just lay the eggs, and they will incubate for a few months, depending on the species in that egg. And then once the shark is developed, it will naturally break out of that egg casing. Some sharks do have live birth, and some sharks kind of are a mix of both. So they'll start off as an egg, and then they'll come out live birth as well.
Very cool. I'll pass along to the classes when we're done pictures of horn shark eggs, especially because they're some of the coolest things you'll ever find in the ocean in your life. So very cool. All right, Miss Erickson's class, if you guys have a second question, go for it.
My name is Brucey. What's the smallest shark you have?
The smallest shark you have, Danielle.
The smallest sharks we have are the chain cat sharks, and I want to say they are probably about maybe like 10 centimeters. They're very, very small.
Yeah. And like a couple pounds or so, or really dense, or what are they doing?
Probably not even a couple pounds. I mean, these are very, very tiny sharks.
All right. Miss Martin's class, if you guys have one, come on.
So, I want to know, what are like the habitats of the shark in the aquarium, and do they interact with other sharks and species? And if so, how do they communicate?
Yeah. Great question. So Danielle, so what are the habitats for the sharks like in the aquarium? How do they interact? Are they with a bunch of other sharks? Do they communicate with one another? Is there anything like that? What's going on?
Good question. So this tank here is our reef shark habitat. So like I said, we have 7 different species of shark in this tank, and their habitat is shallow water. So this habitat's only about 4 meters deep, and there's a lot of different kind of coral decor on the bottom that they can kind of hide and rest in, and then it's just sand on the bottom as well. For the most part, they kind of just swim and do their own thing, not necessarily interacting too much. As far as communication, sharks of the same species do typically have a hierarchy of dominance. So usually there kind of is one that is kind of like the leader and the other ones follow along. Size might play a role in this, but again, some of these kind of questions, scientists, we're still trying to figure out. We're not exactly sure how or why they do this, but they definitely do have a form of communication. As for our dangerous lagoon, where we have 3 other species of shark, we have our sand tigers, our sandbar, and our nurse sharks. That tank is massive. It has over 2 million liters of water. It's pretty similar to the habitat in this tank, though, with lots of different coral decor, sand bottom, lots of different areas that they can hide and rest as well.
Outstanding. Thanks so much, Danielle. All right, Miss Bendo's class, if you guys have another question, come on up.
Why do the zebra sharks have weird lines on their back?
Ah, the weird lines in the back of the zebra sharks, Danielle. Is there a reason for those? Is it just part of how they look?
Yeah, that's actually part of how they look, and that's one of their distinguishing features. So yeah, you'll notice those ridges. So they have very prominent ridges there that are just part of their body.
Yeah. No purpose. There's nothing that they're doing or anything like that. They're just how they look.
So sharks and fish also have another, it's called a lateral line, and this helps them sense movement in the water. So it's kind of like another back to those 6 senses that will help them sense kind of waves and movement beside them in the water.
Yeah, very cool. So if something makes like a ripple in the sea, they can sense that sort of like vibration. Just like if you feel someone stomp the floor beside you, they can feel little ripples from far away with things on their back. Very cool. All right. You know what? We're ripping through these guys. So let's do another round of questions. And again, if anyone on YouTube wants to pass along any too, I'm happy to share them. But in the meantime, let's start with Miss Reeves' class again. Come on back up, guys.
Hi, my name's Adam. Do the zebra sharks fight in the tank?
Any fighting going on, Danielle?
No, our sharks don't fight in this tank. There is another behavior, though, that they, not our zebra sharks, but some of the other sharks in this tank display. And a lot of people, it might look like fighting from the outside, but it's actually their way of mating. So sharks can get pretty aggressive when they're trying to choose a mate. And typically they will bite onto those front pectoral fins and hang on. And then the shark that is getting bitten will usually kind of thrash and swim around to get that shark off of them. But again, they're not fighting. This is just their way of choosing their mates.
Yeah. That's really worth noting, actually. If you guys ever go to an aquarium and you see sharks that are a little torn up or they might have some blood, that did happen. So I used to work at Ripley's Aquarium, and it's a mating. You hardly ever see the actual act happening, but it's something to look out for in future and not worth worrying about. It's just a superficial wound like a scratch or a scrape to the shark. Very cool. All right, let's go back to Ms. Erickson's class. Come on up, guys.
How many sharks do you have, and what's the fastest shark that they have?
Ooh, how many sharks? What's the fastest one, Danielle?
Ooh, good question. So we have 13 different species of shark. Some of them we only have one of, and then others like the sand tiger we have 10 of. And the fastest shark, let's see, I want to probably say the sandbar sharks, or maybe even some of these black tip reef sharks. They can get pretty fast, but the fastest shark species known is actually the short fin mako shark, and we don't have any of those at the aquarium.
But I think our next session with you guys, instead of zebra shark training, should be like a shark race. We should get them in like little pits, like Olympic swimmers. The thought.
Yes, we'll have to test that one.
For the mako shark, by the way, for classes that are interested, so they have been clocked going about 50 miles an hour or 90 kilometers an hour. So they are incredibly fast over short distances. It's quite incredible. One of the fastest fish in the whole ocean. All right, Miss Martin's class, come on up.
What type of water do the sharks live in, fresh or salt water? And do any sharks live in fresh water?
Yeah, great question.
Yeah, so our sharks, they're all saltwater sharks. For the most part, sharks do live in saltwater in the ocean. I think there has been some sightings of sharks being able to kind of swim up rivers a little bit, but for the most part, I believe they're just saltwater.
Yeah, the only shark that I've ever heard of that's freshwater, bull sharks occasionally come up rivers for a little bit, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're in the sea. All right, well, let's wrap up with one last question from Miss Bendo's class. Come on up, guys.
Where do you get your sharks from?
Great question.
Good question. So there's a few different ways that we get our sharks and all our animals here at the aquarium. So number one, that they might have been born here. So like we talked about earlier, our white spotted bamboo sharks reproduce fairly frequent and quickly, and we collect those shark eggs and are able to raise those young sharks right here at the aquarium where they were born. Other sharks or animals come from other facilities. So aquariums like to share animals. So we might get some of our sharks from other aquariums. And then some of our sharks do come from the wild as well. We have a team who will go out and kind of fish for our sharks as well.
Yeah, outstanding. I'm really glad when we get that question every time. It's a little bit of everything, and a lot of sharing is done among aquariums too. So if you get too many babies, they'll pass it along to other aquariums to make sure that they have enough sharks or any animals in their care, which is fantastic. All right, guys. Well, it's the end of the session. So Danielle, that was fantastic. Thank you so much. Before we wrap up, is there any last message you want to share about how kids can learn more about sharks?
Yes, definitely. I encourage you guys to do your research, whether it's online. There's a lot of great books and a lot of great documentaries out there as well that I encourage you to watch and read and just learn as much as you can and share your knowledge to other people. Sharks are very important, like I said before. They're one of my favorite animals. They're also very misunderstood, which kind of makes life a little bit harder for them, but we can all do our parts to make sure that they stick around. So again, just go online. I know our website has lots of great information about the species we have here, but there's a lot of information out there. So I encourage you just to do your research and learn as much as you can.
Outstanding. And I'll pass along some of those resources when we're done as well. So look for that in an email, guys. But for now, boys and girls, if you guys could get ready to say a huge thank you to Danielle and the team for joining us today. I'm about to demute everyone's microphones. So Miss Reed, Miss Erickson, Miss Martin, Miss Bendo, you guys are all demuted. Thank you so much. Awesome, guys. All right. Thank you so much for joining us today, guys. As we kick off October, a huge month. We got 60 sessions this month, so do check for more online on YouTube and beyond. Danielle, it's always nice having you guys at the aquarium, and we look forward to having you back soon.
Amazing. Thank you so much.